Have you ever had one bad experience and suddenly felt like everything was going wrong? Maybe someone rejected you, and your mind immediately said, "Nobody likes me." You fail one test and suddenly become convinced, "I'm not smart enough." You have one awkward conversation and decide, "I'm terrible with people." If that sounds familiar, you might be experiencing something called overgeneralization. Overgeneralization is a cognitive distortion where your mind takes one event and treats it as evidence for a much bigger conclusion. Instead of seeing a single experience for what it is, your brain starts creating rules. One rejection becomes, "I'll always be rejected." One mistake becomes, "I always mess things up." One setback becomes, "Nothing ever works out for me." Notice the words, always, never, everyone, nobody. These words are often clues that overgeneralization is happening. The problem is that our brains naturally look for patterns. It's one of the ways humans learn. But sometimes the brain finds patterns that aren't really there. Imagine eating one bad meal at a restaurant. You probably wouldn't conclude that every meal you'll ever eat will be terrible. But when it comes to ourselves, we often make that exact mistake. One bad day becomes evidence that life is bad. One failure becomes evidence that we're failures. And over time, those conclusions start shaping how we see ourselves and the world. The danger of overgeneralization isn't just that it's inaccurate, it's that it changes behavior. When you believe you'll fail, you stop trying. When you believe nobody likes you, you withdraw from people. When you believe things never improve, you stop looking for opportunities. The thought creates the outcome you're afraid of. So, what can you do when this happens? First, catch the exaggeration. Ask yourself, am I describing one event or my entire life? Second, look for evidence that doesn't fit the story. If your mind says, "I always fail," ask, "Really? Always? Can you think of times you succeeded? Can you think of times things worked out?" Usually, the answer is yes. And finally, replace the generalization with something more accurate. Instead of, "Nobody likes me," try, "This interaction didn't go the way I hoped." Instead of, "I always mess things up," try, "I made a mistake this time." Because one experience is just that, one experience. One bad day doesn't define your life. One failure doesn't define your future. And one setback doesn't tell the whole story. The next time your mind tries to turn one moment into a lifelong pattern, remember, a single chapter is not the entire book.